Today we're diving into a parable, a kind of mythic story about two huge opposing forces that really shape the human spirit. You've got the will to strive on one side and the desire for comfort on the other. And this isn't just a simple tale, it's a philosophical battleground, and we're going to map out the entire conflict.
This quote right here, it just sets the stage perfectly. It introduces our protagonist, but not as your typical hero. No, he's a carrier of a difficult truth, maybe even a painful one. A truth for an age, and maybe an age that sounds a lot like our own, that has just gotten way too comfortable, way too happy with how things are instead of what they could be.
All right, so our story kicks off high in the mountains. We start with the descent of this being known only as the Grimgnash. This is our sovereign, and his journey down isn't some fall from grace. Oh no, it's an inevitable march toward a civilization that has completely forgotten he even exists. I mean, just picture this character, a being made of ash and bone, hardened, calcified by the raw truths you only find on mountain peaks. He isn't coming to save the world in the way we might expect. He's a force of negation. He's a living, walking reminder of endings for a culture that has done everything in its power to forget that things must end, a world that's more afraid of endings than it is of a meaningless existence.
So what does the Grimgnash actually represent? Well, this slide gets right to the core of it. The spirit of gravity. Now, we're not talking about physics here. Think of it as a philosophical force. It's the thing that pulls us down from the fluffy clouds of our comfortable illusions and slams our feet back onto the hard, solid, and sometimes brutal ground of reality. It's the necessary weight against all that hollow optimism.
They call him the architect of negation. You know, he doesn't build things up, he tears things down. He specifically goes after sanctuaries that weren't earned through real struggle. His arrival signals the great evening, the twilight of an entire age, where the sun finally has to set on all these hollow achievements so that something real, something authentic, can rise from the ashes.
Okay, so let's flip to the other side of this conflict. We leave the harsh mountains and we go down into the lowlands, into this meticulously built world, a gilded cage really, constructed by a man named Salvio Pallido. Now, to understand Pallido, you first have to understand the ideal he's selling, the last man. This is his endgame for humanity. A state where all struggle has been engineered away, all risk is gone, but so is all greatness, all creativity, all potential. It's the final, comfortable, and totally hollow version of a human being.
Pallido's whole doctrine is this new trinity, but it's not one of faith. It's a trinity of stagnation. Number 1, absolute safety. 2, unending comfort. And the grand prize, perfect stagnation. He's offering a world with no sharp edges, no challenges, and because of that, absolutely no reason to grow. It's a promise of this perpetual lukewarm peace, a world without any real shadows, but also without any real light.
So how does he keep this illusion going? With this really clever piece of architecture, the uncanny mirror. It's a floor so perfectly polished that it only reflects the ceiling above it. Now think about that for a second. When you look down expecting to see depth, to feel grounded, maybe even to glimpse the abyss, all you see is the same stagnant safety of what's already there. It's a perfect trick to make people believe the abyss simply doesn't exist.
And now this is it. The two worlds collide. The force of gravity comes face to face with the guardian of the gilded cage. The confrontation is set to happen at Pallido's seven-chambered abbey, the very heart of his manufactured reality.
This slide just lays the whole conflict bare. On one side, you have the Grimgnash. He's a creator, embodying the spirit of gravity, the agony of creation, and the truth of our own mortality. And on the other side, Salvio Pallido. He's a curator, a guardian of loopholes, preaching stagnation and the philosophy of the last man. One of them unearths the abyss, the other one just pretends it isn't there.
And just like that, the confrontation begins. Pallido's defenses, his iron gates, his walls, they're all physical. But the Grimgnash, he's a philosophical force. His power isn't brute strength. It's a truth so cold, so absolute, it literally melts locks. The material world has no defense against this kind of reckoning.
And here we see the priest's fatal flaw. He looks at the Grimgnash and he doesn't see a fundamental truth. He just sees an intruder, some chaotic element he needs to manage. His arrogance comes from his core belief that safety, that comfort, is a higher goal than growth, than the painful, uncertain, and ultimately meaningful process of becoming. And now we hit the climax. The Grimgnash doesn't argue, he doesn't debate, he acts.
He moves to shatter the very foundation of Polito's world, that uncanny mirror. And this is where something called the logic of the void comes into play.
The Ganashi's weapon isn't a sword, it's a concept, the logic of zero. It's the idea that no matter how carefully you plan your life, no matter how many walls you build around it, every path, if you follow it honestly to the end, leads back to this central uncertainty, a void. It's like a maze where every single path leads you right back to the confusing center. Polito's entire system is designed to hide this fact, and the Ganache is here to put it on full display.
And then, it happens. The mirror shatters. But not with some magical spell. It shatters with an honest sound. A simple, heavy thud. It's the sound of reality crashing through the illusion. It's the sound that reminds your spirit that it's connected not to some polished ceiling, but to the dirt, to the earth, to its own mortality. The fallout is immediate. The illusion is gone. The floor doesn't exist anymore. And Polito's absolute law, which seemed so strong and rigid, is exposed for what it always was. Just a fragile little rope stretched over the very void he denied was there. The silver polish is gone, and only the truth of the abyss is left. There's an even deeper power at work here, described as Fichtian necromancy. Now, forget about raising the dead. This is about reanimating the living dead, those tired souls who have been sedated by comfort. The Ganache's actions are like a defibrillator for the soul, a shock to the system that forces a direct, unavoidable encounter with their own mortality, waking them up from a dream they put themselves in.
So where does this leave us? The mirror is shattered, the cage is broken. But this isn't the end of the world. It's the end of the world's prologue. It's the harsh but necessary dawn that clears the path for whatever comes next.
And here's how it all wraps up. It's like an inverted hero's journey. Our hero brings darkness and decay to destroy a false light. The gilded cage is gone. And now the path is finally cleared for the Overman, the next stage of humanity, one that actually embraces struggle. And Polito? Well, his punishment is that he gets exactly what he wanted. He's condemned to live in the safe, stagnant world of the last man, which is now fully revealed to be a prison.
This right here is the key takeaway. All of this destruction, this red chapter, it feels like a tragedy, but the parable wants us to see it differently. It's necessary. It's even glittering. It's the beautiful, violent end of humanity's childhood, a required step so that it can finally grow up. And that brings us to the final verdict. The fall of this civilization wasn't some random accident or a terrible injustice. The Great Noon, that peak of human arrogance where they thought they could eliminate struggle and death, it earned this twilight. It was a deserved and ultimately necessary correction. So we end with a question that brings this whole parable right back to us, to you. The story suggests that all gilded cages, whether they're personal ones we build for ourselves or societal ones, are eventually going to break. And when they do, the only thing left is the tightrope over the void. So the final question isn't if the cage will break, but if you'll be ready to walk when it does.